Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge. So it's the Wednesday night show where we talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Games on. Um, I think I saw the hardest hit I've seen maybe in my life. I'm not. I mean, for Jacob Slavin's not funny, but Sam Bennett. I think he hit him behind the net so hard. I mean, the guy literally went flying like straight back, like he was out. I think the only places I've ever seen that is like in a cartoon where a guy gets hit like that for whatever reason. And just, flat. But he flew back about 6 feet. That was the hardest hit and legal hit. He didn't get a penalty. Anyway, the other hardest hit was in the Panthers Toronto game. I think it was Kampf got hit like almost through the board. So those were the two hardest hits I think I've ever seen. Anyway, let's see who's here. Start with that. Because I don't know. Guy had his head down. Don't have your head down. That's the whole thing. Bob Cannon in the house with the first comment. Hey Bob, if you're still there, I don't know. You might not be. How's it going, man? Bye. How's it going, baby? It's been a few days, a few streams. Good to see you back. Hope you're feeling better too. Guru, going good. Filibuster, how's it going, man? Stan the man. Did not want to miss Bob's intro. Joe from Australia, how you going, girl? Slavin got rocked. He got rocked. I feel bad for him. I mean, that's a concussion. I think that was a concussion. He had his head down. I don't think there was head contact, but man, he just went back. Like his arms went down and his feet came out, and I think his head hit the boards too. I mean, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit like that, man. Jesus. It was clean and sent him to the moon. Yeah, I mean, he's out of the game. They did score. I missed it. 2-0 Florida, by the way. Canes are done. I'd be surprised that they come back in this game. They're done. Always wonderful. How's the poetry? The poetry is going. Like I haven't written for a couple of days. I was going to today. I was out and I didn't really have the opportunity. But it's going good because like the two things that I'm writing in my book there and the Ghost of Habs Past. I've added to it since the last time I read it to you guys. I might be convinced to read one of them. Probably not the kids' book, but I might be convinced to, because the Ghost of Habs Past. I don't think I'm halfway through that one yet. There's a lot of Ghosts of Habs Past. I wrote out a list of all the old dead significant players of the past so that I can figure out how to rhyme stuff with them. So yeah, but I'll read that to you guys later if you want. Any intermission maybe or whatever. I don't care when. Babe, I don't know. He got up. He was shaky, and then he got up, and they were like, "Stay down," and he just fell face first into the back of the net. So, yeah, I mean, he was spinning, man. I think he's got a concussion. I mean, I don't like to see that part of it, but it was a clean hit. He had his head down. Unfortunately, that's what happens, right? And in playoff hockey, that's what's going to happen. All right, so I've got not really that much to talk about. If you might have noticed, Cole Caulfield's on my thumbnail, but that's the reason for that is not his contract's not signed. I'll be doing a video tomorrow exactly about that. I've got it ready. I didn't have time today because I didn't get back in time. But it's called "What's Holding Up Cole Caulfield's Contract." Yeah, it's gonna be my next video. So. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm coming down with a cold today all of a sudden. I don't know. So we can talk about whatever you want. There's no news anywhere. Like, there's nothing to talk about other than the game or the playoffs right now. So, If anybody's got any info nobody's heard about, bring it out. Anything you guys want to talk about, well, let's go for it. If Florida and Vegas wins their series, they will both play for their first cup. Why do I want to say that? No, Panthers played for the cup. Oh, back in the 90s, didn't they? So that's not the truth for Florida. And Vegas, didn't they get to the cup final in their first year? I'm wrong on that. I think I'm wrong on that. But Florida, way back, got into the finals. Hey, Bruce, how you doing, Bruce? Let's see. Ben got only 2 games for attempted beheading. Kind of 3, because he got thrown out of the game. And didn't that happen like 2 minutes into the game or something? So they're saying it's like 3. But you're right. He only got 2. Doesn't matter because they're losing tomorrow. And that's it. He's out for the rest of the series. And that's going to be it for them. I can't see Dallas coming back. When Florida wins, how many we want Florida t-shirts will be sold? Not in Toronto. Not in Toronto. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, they're a team of destiny. They remind me. I said this before they beat the Leafs. Like they remind me of Montreal in 2021. But I wonder if they're not more. And I didn't see that playoffs much. Is 2019? Is it that St. Louis won? St. Louis is very reminiscent. Like this team, what they're doing, very reminiscent of St. Louis, because they were at the All-Star break. They were out of the playoffs. They weren't dead last, but they were out of the playoffs. And yeah, so it's a hell of a story. Listen, I'm not the biggest Panthers fan. They're a dirty team. There's some guys in there I don't like. But man, these guys are playing playoff hockey. I mean, they're playing playoff hockey just like the Habs did in 2021. Except these guys are a little bit dirtier. Oh man, Bob. Yeah, they scored. Bob just let one up. He almost got that one. It bounced. I don't know what happened. It got behind him. He was just going back there to grab it, and Stastny got in there and put the puck in. So it's 2-1. Oh, it's not that I thought Bob wasn't going to get scored on at all, but kind of a fluke. Oh, went off the post, hit him in the back of the leg, and he couldn't stop it from going in, I guess. Surprised Stastny for reaching in there like that. Didn't get his head taken off. Anyway, so enough of that story. I think Matt's supposed to join us. He texted me to say he's going to be here, so I kind of believe he'll be here. In the next 10, 20 years, do you feel there will be any non-goalie females to play in the NHL? Oh, I don't think I'll be alive in 20 years to see it, but that's a really good question. I don't know how to answer. I don't know, but I do. And I've said this a few times. I think the first female to play in an actual NHL game, not like Manon Rhéaume in a preseason game. I'm talking about an actual NHL game. Be a goalie. You got to think, right? But I don't really know. Joe, I saw that. Owen Beck will start in the Memorial Cup. He won't be under suspension. I don't know that they lowered it. I don't know what the ruling was. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, Owen Beck will be able to play. Won't miss any time in the Memorial Cup. How does it look when your captain misses your season opener due to suspensions? Who's that? Who are we talking about? Did I miss something? Yes, Phil. Who are you talking about? What captain's going to miss the season opener? Totally can't. Oh, that's Seguin. You must be talking about Seguin. Why will it carry into next season? I don't know that it will necessarily. It might, though. Guru, Florida definitely dialed in. But you got to think, so is Vegas, I guess. I mean, they're kind of doing the same thing. But I think Florida just looks like the team of destiny to me. It carries suspended. Well, listen, if Stars if the Stars potentially could win the next game, they could win one game. If that happens, then there's another game and his suspension is done. If not, he misses the opener. Not the end of the world. The opener, really, it's not. Thing is, it was like stupid. It was a stupid thing to do, and he kind of lied when he said he didn't mean to do that and fall there and then land on his neck. That's not what happened. It's not what happened. He went after his neck on purpose. Ain't no doubt about that. I mean, for me, that's what I saw. So whatever you guys want to talk about, there's no there's nothing happening as far in the world of the Habs right now. Nothing happening. I don't really expect much to be happening in the world of the Habs. They can't. You can't sign anybody. You can't. You can make trades, I imagine. But they're not going to do anything till the draft, I don't think. So I will need you guys to carry some of the conversation with me. So if you will ask me questions, I will make up answers. No, I'll tell you what I know or what I don't know. It's one of the little dogs from the building. Ray's going to bark because that one's out there barking her head off. I think that's actually her nemesis. There's a dog in the building, a little white dog similar to Ray. And ever since they first met, the white one doesn't like her. Ray is sort of okay. But their nemesis is nemesi? I don't know. Is there a plural to nemesis? I don't know. What does PLD cost in what's FOF season? You didn't spell it right. Off season versus just his RFA rights versus waiting for UFA. Well, versus waiting for UFA costs you nothing. Which I think Montreal's do. I don't think they're going to go after PLD. I mean, why would you give up good assets to get a guy that you don't need right now? You don't need him right now. And if he really wants to be here, he holds he holds the cards because he could be here next year, not next season, the season after. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would wait. So, I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of rumors out there about it. Are any of them right? Who knows? If it happens, we'll know. If it doesn't, well, it's all speculation. They ordered another bobblehead from, is it Foco? What does that mean? F off. Can't think of the other two. Patrick Roy, 85-86 with cup raised. Awesome. Is that where he goes, I'm going to Disneyland? No, that was in 93 he did that. We'll get in November as a pre-order, so it will be my birthday present. Awesome. Did you see Patrick Roy after the Rampart Swan? Man, does he look old now? He got gray hair, gray beard. Oh my God, I ever feel old. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, he's obviously younger than me by a good bit. Ketchup on hot dogs, or is it gross? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's gross, but I don't put ketchup on hot dogs. Mustard and relish. Matter of fact, I had hot dogs for lunch today. Mustard, relish, and some lettuce chopped up. That's a new thing for me. Lettuce with the hot dogs is really good. Growing with the team has to be worth something. Why? 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 I mean, how many teams have these guys name them. How many teams have they played on? They go and they play in the All-Star game. They go and play for the country. They mesh. You're gonna give up good assets just so that he has an easier time when he gets like, come on. Phil. No way. I wouldn't give up no. Now if it was like he's, you gotta trade for him. He's got contract, whatever, like you gotta trade for him. That's a different story, but you don't have to. There's a guy that says, I want to play in Montreal. I'm gonna be a UFA next year. Wait. That's how I say it. Babe, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You're talking about Fanatics with making the jerseys next year? I'm not sure what you're talking about. You were impressed with Patrick Roy's attitude in that series. He was a rookie. It was his first, right? 86. Yeah. He was fantastic. I mean, I'll never forget that. Was that the year? I don't know if it was 86 or 93. It had to be 86 against the Rangers. I don't know if it was overtime. I think it might have been, but it might not have been. There was a 5-minute span where the Rangers just peppered him with shots, and I don't think I'd ever seen a goalie like that make the kind of saves, the kind of moves, the acrobatics. I don't think I'd ever seen that before. He was amazing. I don't know what else to say, but I'll never forget that 5 minutes against the Rangers. The saves were crazy. Phil, now you see, you almost had me because he says we agree with the mustard. We have used mustard here. Then he says Dijon. If it's some kind of I don't know, gourmet hot dog, maybe Dijon. It's not that I don't like Dijon, but no. Regular yellow mustard with relish, and if you want to mix them first together and then put that on, that's good. Bruce says, I don't like Florida, but I feel they are playing great playoff hockey. They have quite a few gritty players that play a 200-foot game, in my opinion. Yes, I mean, not my favorite team. They're dirty, but this is two dirty teams here, and I hate the Canes. I don't know if the Canes are as dirty, but I hate them. You know what? You're watching a team that's destined to win. It's kind of, whether you like them or not, if you put that out of your head, it's a beautiful thing to watch. That's what hockey used to be about, man. Wolf, how's it going, Wolf? How about you guys in the comments? What's your Havlet's thoughts on Lane Hudson? I wish Lane Hudson would be here next season. That's all I can say. And he's playing now. Is he at the World Championships now? He's playing against men, still doing the things he does. So I'm really enthused. Give him another season in college. I think he'll be here after that. I mean, this kid's gonna be pretty awesome, pretty goddamn awesome. I mean, he's doing this shit we see him doing, I guess before he got to college, in college, and now he's doing it against men, NHL players, and he's amazing. Joe says tomato sauce, which I think in Australia, that's ketchup, right? That's what they call it. And mustard together on hot dogs. I think a lot of people do that. I don't think that's very odd. I mean, I've done it. I'm not a big tomato ketchup guy on hot dogs, but I mean, I can do it, and I'll mix it all on hot dogs or hamburgers. Mix all three. Add some mayo in there if it's a hamburger. Like, I don't mind, but not just ketchup. No. Does anyone have any updates on? Is that what did you say? You wrote kite. I don't. Are you missing? Like, is it night? And if that's the case, I don't know who you're talking about. Something happened to somebody that I didn't hear about. Jay Fed, I wouldn't argue that point, and I'm cool with him and going. Obviously, he might even go 2 more years in college. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this kid in a Habs uniform. Sean, I pretty much agree with everything you said there, but I don't know who where you say we want to make the playoffs next year. I mean, who said that? I do know this though. Like, I don't think you're that wrong, and it's not really criticism, but because I heard was Gordon and Hughes in the last press conference they had together. I think what they said was we're not going to start next season the same way this year, where we said playoffs are out of the question. We're not making the playoffs. They said they're not going to do that. So I don't think they expect to make the playoffs, but I don't think it's under the same exact. I think it's another development year, but I think they were better than they thought. I think the door's open. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs though. And I don't know. I don't necessarily want them to next season either, to be honest with you. I know that sounds weird, but so you're talking about Spencer Knight. Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything new, and they won't say anything till he's out. They won't talk about it. I mean, I'm sure he's doing well. I hope he's doing well, and I'm pretty sure he'll be. We'll see him again next season. Whoop! I was right. Oh, Sean, well, not no, but it's funny because they said that they're not going into the season saying, "Yeah, we're not making the playoffs." Like, they're leaving that possibility open for whatever reason. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. J Fed, yeah, well, I said that, didn't I say it in my video that he's kind of, yeah, this is not a great tournament for him. He might drop or might not. Just because he's not having a good tournament doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to be a good player, right? But I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I said this. When did I say this about Anaheim? Either I said it in the video or we were doing a live stream and I said, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Anaheim takes Michkov. If you want to talk about talent wise, Michkov is the second, probably going in, right? We don't know. 5 years later, we'll look back. Going in, Michkov's the second best talent going, in this draft. So it wouldn't surprise me. I don't see why Anaheim wouldn't be willing to wait. The thing is, will anybody draft the Russians early? I don't know. It's hard to tell, like, what's with that situation, but how people feel about it, right? It's hard to tell, but I don't know. Wait, well, Wolf, I'm not sure what you're saying about Klingberg. I'm trying to figure. That's why I looked weird. Trying to figure that out. Yeah, what's this about Klingberg? We can't package Monahan anywhere. Monahan, July 1st, is a free agent. UFA, and yeah. And I also doubt very highly anyone's trading for his rights, right? Hey, Lucas, it was good. The first period, what I saw half of it till we got on air here. It was exciting. And what a hard hit! What a hard hit by Bennett on Slavin. I mean, that's one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. God, I can't stay lit. This thing. Who's Sam? Which Sam? You talking about Montembeau in the World Championships? Yeah. Was he in nets though against Norway? Like, I don't think so, but I know I heard it wasn't Devin Levi, so I don't know who was in nets. J-Fed agrees with me on Michkov. I mean, based on talent, Michkov should go first. If Fantilli, if Fantilli drops and say, and Anaheim's not locked on a center as the pick, I could see that. Like, I hope somebody in the top four picks Michkov, takes away that. It takes away Montreal's whatever. They don't have to worry about it anymore. Beba, yeah, I think Fantilli wasn't expected 100% to make the NHL next year anyway. So, and I think he might be going even to college hockey. Like, I don't know. So, from what I understand, the only player that's really expected, like, is a certainty to start in the NHL next season, is Bedard. After that, probably not. Nobody else. Well, Fantilli must have looked good in college for him to win the Hobie Baker Award. So, like, I don't know. I haven't really seen him play, so I don't know. Like, I hope we don't I hope we don't have that as a choice. And it's Fantilli, or like, I hope that we get Smith and then somebody takes Michkov, somebody takes Fantilli, and then we don't have to make that choice. Do I think Monahan gets signed by any team or time to retire? Monahan will get, if he wants to play. Monahan will get signed if he's healthy. 100% he'll get signed. I mean, he's still young though. I don't doubt he retires. He still makes some good money. I doubt he retires. JFed, but he'll probably, he probably will still develop. Won't make the NHL. Doesn't mean he won't get taken early. Hey Bob, I already did the canon. I'm sorry. I use that line a lot of times. I've used it a lot of times. Just don't call me late for dinner. Hey Andrew, how you doing, man? It seems like it's been a while. Habs will end up with the next KK. No, I don't think so. Hope not. ICT. I hope. I really do. I think Smith is the target for the Habs, and I hope we land him. What the hell happened to Matt? Matt texted me. I don't know, about 7. I think about 7. Asking if there's a stream tonight, which, I mean, you can check. And then I'll be there. So why do that if you're not going to be here? Like, I don't get it. All right. What do I know, eh? Kids today, man. Babe, I heard that about Fantilli too. I don't watch him. I don't know. I mean, like I said, he won the Hobie Baker Award. I wouldn't think. I mean that he's garbage, but I don't know. I haven't really looked into these guys yet. So far, Michkov is the only one. Lucas says my hopefuls are at 5 are Carlson or Michkov. I know a lot of people are against Michkov, but I always loved the EU players. I'm not against Michkov as a player at all. It has nothing to do with him as a player. It's just it's questionable about what's going to happen with him. And that 3 years, sorry, but that 3 years is a long time. The only good thing about it is he's going to get developed because the team that he's playing for in KHL, SKA, that's out of St. Petersburg. That's like they run that team like an NHL team. It's like he'll get developed there. So that's a good thing, but it's still a long wait. If Carlson dropped to the 5th, that would be huge. Yeah, I don't think he's going to drop to 5th. Andrew, thank you. Hang on a second. Been a while since I got one of these. I don't see the sticker, but thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I wasn't expecting any, but if anybody does contribute to the channel, you get into a draw for a prize. We're giving away a mug soon, hopefully. But these things, it has to pay for itself. Like I don't send things out of pocket. These things pay for the prizes and to send them out, and it hasn't been happening lately, so it's a little delayed, but it'll come up soon. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. Your name's gonna get in there, as you know. Feared Legend. Hey, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you before. Draft goes as followed. We'll be waiting for the list. With Michkov not attending the combine, I can't see him being picked before 5th. Won't they be doing a European combine? I can see it either way. To be very honest, I can see it either way that he gets picked or he drops. I can see it going either way. Excuse me. I was hearing on the radio, Hughes said the goal next year is to make the playoffs. Hope they don't try to rush to rebuild. I don't, I heard what they said. And that's not what they said that I remember. What I heard is this, Lucas. They said that they're not going to go into next year with that same mentality of, no, we're not making the playoffs this year. We're not good enough, and we're not making the playoffs. It's that's all. They're open to the possibility that they might. I think they're encouraged by what they saw in a horrible season, the compete and all that on these guys that they don't know. Maybe they will make the playoffs. So I think that's it. I don't think it's that they expect to make the playoffs. That it's their goal. I don't think so. So Feared Legend says Bedard, Fantilli, Smith, Carlson will go top 4. Habs will pass on Michkov due to too many uncertainties. Habs will draft Leonard. That could be what happens. That definitely, it could be what happens. I really don't know. With Michkov, I don't know what will happen with Michkov. Monty's been standing on his head. So who was in net for the Norway game? Didn't Mike Hoffman have a 30-goal season once, at least once? But listen, Mike Hoffman's 33 now, right? There's a difference. I'm not thrilled with his numbers. Definitely, I think they buy him out anyway. Rumor has it that Flyers will offer Sheet Caulfield, which is interesting that they had a chance to draft him twice. But remember, as with offer sheets, right? Offer sheets are nothing unless the player signs them. Unless the player signs them, they're not valid. So I don't see Caulfield signing an offer sheet. But what it could affect, though, is if they haven't if they haven't settled on the numbers, I mean, if somebody offers them ridiculous numbers, that could affect Montreal having to pay more. But I don't think Caulfield's going to sign an offer sheet. All right. By the way, John, John, I don't know if you should say welcome to the channel, or I feel you might have been here before. Do you think the Habs have enough goaltending to make the playoffs? Well, I'll tell you, depending on what they do with Jake Allen, but I feel Monty is coming into his own. If he improves next season the way he did this season, then yeah, I do. HOF, the third. Who's HOF? Hofer. Ah, that's who it was. I thought they only had two goalies going into that. I didn't think they brought a third. Feared Legend says, on pure talent alone, Michkov rivals Bedard. The kid scored 109 points in 26 games as a 15-year-old. His talent is off the charts when it comes to scoring goals, but Bedard will have more points. Interesting, I saw a projection for I don't know, 7 or 8 players, young guys like that. Top 2 were Bedard. So I think what their ceiling for points is, and they had Michkov at 155 points, Bedard 151 points. So yeah, I'm not. I think Michkov, I don't. He could be a same kind, like put up the same kind of numbers, and he's that kind of a from the highlights I saw, like that kind of a game breaker and crazy kind of offense from him. I don't know. I'm not saying it well, but so yeah, for points, I mean, according to these people or these projections, Michkov has potential for more points than Bedard. But I mean, you're not talking. It's not like tons more. Who do I think the Habs will draft? I don't think they're going to draft Michkov. If they can get Smith, they'll get Smith. If it's Carlson, they'll get Carlson. And if not, they're all gone. That I haven't nailed that down for myself. Everyone's saying Leonard, but I haven't really checked into these guys. So yeah, I'm just gonna say their target, I believe, is Smith. And if they can get him, they're gonna get him. Renegade Man, PLD's not gonna sit for a year. First of all, they have the leverage, right? So they offer sheet him. So now he not offer sheet. Qualify him. They qualify him at the $6 million, right? Then it's up to him. If he says no, I believe he could be a free agent, or he signs for one more year and then he walks. They'll trade him at the deadline, and the following season he's a free agent, and that's up to him. What do I think about height? Yeah, as I get older, I'm shrinking. I've lost it. Oh, not that kind of height. I'm sorry. I have no idea. I don't know if I've ever even heard his name. Wait a second. The only time I've heard his name, I think, was today. Caden Gooley's going to be at Nashville for the draft because that kid height. That's his brother-in-law. That's all I know, and he's expected to go in the first round. So there you go. But I can't tell you anymore. Bob, but I don't think he said pushing for the playoffs. I think that's taken out of context. I think they're saying that If we're good enough, we're good enough. We're not going to close the door on that right away, say, and put it in their heads that no, we can't win. We can't get to the play. Like I think that's it. I don't think they're expecting to or pushing for it. I think it's going to mean a little bit of games. How do I want to put this? Games will mean more, right? Wins and losses will be a little bit, have more meaning, or they'll be pushing for a little bit more for that, right? I guess. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But I don't think they're pushing to the playoffs. I believe I heard the crowd. I believe the playoffs are still out of reach. But what if in the the way the Habs were injured like crazy? If a couple of teams in our division, if that happens to them, Montreal has a better than thought of season. Maybe they sneak in. It's a possibility. I think that's all it is. And this year they're open to it. If Michkov had been playing in juniors instead of Russia, he would have been chosen number 2. Oh, I think, without a doubt, because he'd be here already. There wouldn't be that question, right? But that's not the case. So, yeah, I think you're right, though. He'd be, going to Anaheim. And you never know. Maybe Anaheim's comfortable waiting. Hey, Massimo, feel that if Hughes were to draft Michkov, and it turns out to be a bust, I would be way less mad at management for taking a risk rather than passing on him and him becoming Kaprizov 2.0. But fans, I don't think fans in general feel that way. I think a lot of fans would probably agree with you, and then but if it happened, would be going, yeah, I didn't want them to draft me, blah blah blah. That's how fans are. I think it's really important that they can't have this pick go bust in that way. Like if they pick him and he's here and then he goes bust that way, that's different. If they pick somebody else that everybody wants and that, that's a little different. But if you pick a guy that, is such a risk like that, and that he just never shows up, when you're a new management group, although by the time he doesn't show up, they won't be new, but it'll really screw up your rebuild and your future success. And you'll probably lose your job at that point. So I don't see them making that pick. Bob, you think you're right. 24, asking Montreal to have 24 points more than they did last season it's probably just, it's too much. I think people who are predicting that are saying without the injuries, they just tied it up. Canes tied it up. Without the injuries that Montreal had, if you're looking projecting next year, young guys are more experienced, blah, 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 no injuries. But I don't think you can project that. Bob thinks it's Hughes and Gordon, because I heard them both say it. Trying to put a positive spin on things to make the playoffs. Maybe. And listen, what they said doesn't mean anything really. They're just saying we're not going into the season thinking, there's no way we can make the playoffs. They're going into the season thinking, you never know. I think that's it. That's all. I don't think they're going to change much of how they want to develop these kids. They've got a lot of kids still to develop than the 5 defensemen. Do the Habs go after Benson? Don't know. I haven't checked into these guys enough for me to tell you that or to give my opinion on that. Wolf. The thing is, Michkov's he's like he's in a tier with Bedard by themselves, right? So to say if there's somebody with the same value, I don't think anybody has the same value talent wise, but you have to weigh it with other things, and how far off are they, And if it's not that far off and this guy's going to be here and there's no risk that way, blah, 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 I make that pick and I don't take the chance. I don't know that right. Well, maybe right wing, but they need a left shot left winger. I think they don't have one of those either. Cam says, "Let me in on this and let's shit talk Leafs." We haven't been shit talking the Leafs tonight. By the way, hey Cam, where's your buddy? He was supposed to be here with me tonight. If Habs pass on Michkov and another team drafts him and gets him over here in 3 years or so, I would definitely feel a bit let down they passed on him. Depends, right? So say they do get Will Smith, right? And probably in the 3 years that we're waiting, Will Smith makes it here and hits pretty big. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. We might be a little disappointed, but I think we'll still be happy with what we got. Hughes can't risk botching that top pick. That's what I'm kind of saying, right? They can't risk that. Wolf, again, I don't think I'm saying Michkov doesn't want to come here. I don't think that's what we're saying at all. It's will he be able to get here? Right? I think it's well known Michkov wants to come here to play in the NHL. His dad wanted to get him out of that contract. And the speculation is that might be why his dad's dead. And so are they going to be able to? And there's potential for the KHL team to lock him in for 2 more years and nothing he can do about it. I don't know all the details on that, but I've read it from a few different places. There's a lot of things that it's risky. I don't know. But to say, does Michkov want to be here? I think it's well known. Not only does he want to be here, I heard that he's said before that he wants to play for the Habs. I don't know that that's 100% true or not. So, well, Renegade Man making the playoffs and then doing well, that's 2 different things. But I don't really disagree with you. I think it's 2-3 years before they, then where they're playoff contenders. That means contending to make the playoffs. Cup contenders, not. That'll be a few more. Andrew, I disagree. Michkov, I think, is in the same tier as Bedard. I do believe that. I'm not saying he is better than Bedard, but we won't know like for 5 years anyway, 100%. So, but I think those two stand alone above the rest of the pack. If the Habs drafted Brady Tkachuk, do I think this would be a different team in a better position? Well, yeah, because Brady Tkachuk is successful and all that stuff. And KK, with everything that happened, that sets you back when it's a 3rd overall pick and he's already gone off the team and he didn't, like, that sets you back. So yeah. And I was a Brady Tkachuk guy. Well, no, I mean it's already almost an hour. If Matt's not showing up, I'm out of here soon. So no, I'm not doing all that. Sorry, Cam. I'm a talking hockey now. But no, I mean if Matt doesn't show up, I'm gonna go another, I don't know, 20 minutes. That's it. Joe says, I think Fantilli could drop and Michkov could be propped up. It will depend on which teams are looking at which particular position. Yeah, that's right. It could go that way too. I mean, it's hard to say how it's going to go. He'll drop or he won't. I mean, if he doesn't drop, he's getting picked in the top 5, I think. Look at that. Speak of the devil, he shows up. Look at that. We'll see. He's there in he's in the green room right now. It's trying to get him in anyway. Wolf, I'm definitely not on Russia's side in this war, but to say that there's no way this war goes another 3 years, I don't know. World War II wasn't expected to go that long. Is any war? So I don't know how you predict that. Is Crosby better than Ovechkin? Ovechkin's the better goal scorer. Crosby's the better complete player. That's what my opinion is. I've never been a big Ovechkin guy. It has nothing to do with the war. Just never been. Hey Matt, just one sec. Wolf, I not on Rogers' side. I could go on forever about this war. Yeah, not in here. This is not for it. How's it going, Matt?
Good, man. Watching some hockey. How about you?
Getting in there. I'm about to go. What happened? No answer to that. All right. JFed says Crosby 100% better than OB. Definitely. I mean, all around player, definitely. As far as goal scorer, I mean, Ovi's a pretty good goal scorer. I think that's his whole thing.
I think in terms of a complete player, I mean, it's Crosby. I don't think there's an argument to really be made there.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's Crosby, the complete player. Ovi's the better goal scorer. Right? I mean, with some smart drafting this year and next, I would think the Habs might make it in 24-25. I said 2 or 3 years. But we will have lost several players.
Not this season. I think the season after.
Under contract.
I think we're going to be right there for a wild card spot. I do.
It's possible.
Should we draft right? I think if Lane Hudson continues doing what he's doing, I think he signs his ELC after this coming year at BU. And then the sky's the limit for that kid. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. And he's playing against men right now, and he's still doing it. So,
I mean, he's making him look silly.
Yeah, I mean,
how long have we been begging for a defenseman like that can just kind of, all right, I'm just going to turn the wheels on and create offense from the back end.
Can he turn the wheels on too?
Oh yeah,
the highlight of him that was out today. I mean, he just in 3 strides just accelerates past. What happened?
Kneecast. Let's see what happened here. He was being helped off the ice. I think he might have done something. What did he? Oh,
I don't see it. I missed it. Anyway, I don't know what was
a shot off the leg, and his leg bent in a little bit.
Nice. Cam's begging me to come on the show.
I sent him the link. Yeah.
Oh, of course, don't consult with me.
Listen, I'm a co-host. I have some power.
No, you see, co-host has the power when they show up on time. Then you'd have more power. Hey, Randy, it's been a while. Good to see you. Nice to see you in May. I'm here all year round. What do you mean? AX3J, also been a while. What's up, buddy? Habs need a certain mix of veterans with certain promising rookies in the lineup. Like, listen, you can say that.
I can name a few promising rookies.
Yeah, well, the team's going to be loaded with them, and there'll be a mix of veterans. I think, though, this team. Well, I'm okay with their recent talk of saying, well, maybe next year we do make the playoffs. Yeah, I kind of think they're. How do I want to put it? You need a certain amount of veterans, but I think we got more than they need right now, and I think they want to have a lot of these young guys here developing and moving forward together into a championship team. Very reminiscent about there's another guy, Panther Hurt, very reminiscent of, for me, the Oilers of the 80s. There you go. I had my say. Hey, who's a liar? Wait, am I a liar or is Matt a liar?
No, me.
Oh, okay. I agree with that.
I don't know which email he wants me to send the invite to.
Oh, okay. Where's Anthony? You Canadian brother? Oh, okay. Yeah, that guy. Anthony's not here tonight. Power to the people. Wasn't that a song?
Mm-hmm.
We're loaded. Yeah, loaded with rookies, just like the Sabres. Well, yeah, of course we got rookies. But Randy, if you're saying, well, next year they got to get over the top, you're right. They just scored 3-2, Panthers.
Yeah, you're ahead of me. Freaking Canadians.
Too many. I mean, are you really wanting them to? You think they're going to win the cup next year? How do I want to put this? I think you're wrong. If you're expecting to win the cup right now, yes, you're not wrong. If your long-term goal is in a few years, yeah, you get them in here now getting experience in 2, 3, 4 years. All your young guys who are still young are now experienced veterans. Is there any update on the contract for 22? No, but I will be doing a video on him tomorrow. Well, a month ago, Jeff Molson said the deal could happen any minute now. It's a month later. That's in my video, by the way. So, yeah, I'm going to be I would have had that out today, but I didn't get home in time, so I didn't get it done yet. But I've got everything done except the filming and the editing, which is very important because if you want a video to come out, you got to film it. It's like really important, kind of essential.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what a ooh! I just saw the goal. That was pretty.
Lomberg got the goal. Yeah, there you go.
That was pretty. So that was a really nice. That was a nicely worked play there.
9:35 left in the second. 9:30. Yeah, whatever. 9:35 to go in the second. 3-2 Carolina, Florida over Carolina. Shots are tied at 16. Cam says he thinks Canadians are a bubble team this year. I won't say that I don't think potentially that could happen. I don't think going into the season, though. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, if they follow along what I kind of called after that poopy year under he who shall not be named, I had them finishing right where they finished this year. The next year, I got them like 12 to 14-ish, 12, 13, somewhere there. Then the year after that, they're right on the cusp of the wild card.
Yeah. And then I was saying, this is what I said earlier. I think like if two other teams in the Atlantic Division have a season like Montreal had these last two with the injuries, then yeah, Montreal could potentially make the playoffs. But I don't really think otherwise that's going to happen, right? And I don't see two teams probably, it's not going to happen where two teams get hurt as much as Montreal. I mean, they set records this year, so. If you look at the other teams in the East, the Bruins are going to fall off depending on how they handle the offseason.
They very well could. I mean, that's very real possibility.
For sure there is. Tampa is on their way down. I don't think Florida will maintain. Well, is Tampa on the way down enough that Montreal is going to pass them? And like Boston could really drop.
Well, I think too. I think whatever Toronto does, right? Like there's a whole like a billion different ways that could go. I mean, who's to say that they don't just blow the team with smithereens, right? Like there's just a whole bunch of ways that they could go.
I read today management. They don't have a GM yet, but management is telling them. Shanahan is telling the core four not to worry. They're not getting moved.
I saw that. Yeah, I think that's stupid. I do. I think they got to move at least one of them.
Yeah,
I do. They have to
move Matthews,
and I think that also kind of had a part in Dubas being let go because I think Dubas was ready to do that, right? And I don't know.
Where'd you get that from? I mean, I haven't read that.
Chris Johnston a little bit, and then the Steve Dangle podcast. I actually watched the one when they found out that Dubas was gone, and then the one when they did the analysis of the press conference. And it sounds like Dubas, what really ended up was the nail in the coffin is he wanted more autonomy. Like he didn't necessarily want to keep kind of having to ask Shanahan for permission to do stuff. He wanted a little bit more power, and I guess that hurt Shanahan's ego. So see ya. I think also being ready to trade one of the core guys.
He asked for a hell of a raise, apparently, as well.
And again, because I think he wanted that, more autonomy. I think he wanted like GM and president, right, and just kind of have Shanahan step over a little bit, so that way Dubas could work. And obviously, Shanahan didn't want that.
If he asked me for that, and I'm Shanahan, no.
Well, right. Well, then that's the thing, right? Like I said, I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Personally, I think this is what I think happened there. Personally,
when
Dubas talked the way he did, Shanahan had to think ahead, right? Potentially, Dubas not coming back on his, like he's saying that Dubas, right?
Right.
Now I got to look and say, okay, well, if that happens, I'm not going to wait for that to hit me. Let's start looking and thinking about it. I think when he started to do that, he had a good look at his team over the last 5 years under Dubas as GM and said, not as good as I thought. And now you're already thinking about somebody else. And I think he liked the idea. And
here's the other way to look at this, though, right? Who did Dubas have to go to for permission to make all the moves he made?
Well, sure.
Shanahan, you got to go to Brendan Shanahan
either, but
if anything, Shanahan, right? If MLSE was smart, they would have let them both go.
All three, Shanahan, Dubas.
Keefe has to. If they bring Keefe back, they're just. I mean,
he's not fired yet. He's not fired yet.
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
he's going to be the softest. Like I said, the second that he put Marner back in the game after that temper tantrum against the Ducks, and he walked down the tunnel, I lost all respect for him as a head coach.
For sure.
Like you can't do that. No. Like if I'm the coach there, I'm like, no, you're done. You just walk down the tunnel. Keep going. Bye.
By the way, Cam's in the room. He's quiet.
I wanted to let Matt finish on his tangent. What's going on, boys? Good evening. How we doing?
Good evening. Good evening. What's having pimples or something today? What's going on?
I don't know, man. I'm not. My face ain't ready for the camera, dude. I didn't do my makeup.
Weren't you on camera though the last time, or I'm wrong?
Yeah, but I had my makeup artist. I had everything.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
Okay,
something wrong with the makeup department tonight. So I'm just here. I'm the voice.
It's okay. It's never a requirement to have to show your face. So
it's fine. Yeah. I don't know, Matt. You guys bring up good points with Dubas and Brendan Shanahan and Keith. I was talking to Matt, but going through two coaches, especially with Mike Babcock, at what point do you start blaming the players?
Well, that's the thing too, right? And that's a good point. And you get a coach like Keith that essentially that just lets the players kind of, again, keep that same culture. Doesn't do anything to try to change it.
You've got players that are soft, led by a really big pussy. And I'm not talking about Tavares because he's not. I mean, I don't know if he's the leader or whatever you want to say, but I mean, Matthews is right. You're led by a pussy. You've got an inexperienced GM who made a lot of mistakes, if you ask me. And then you got a president who's allowing all that, right? He had to sign off on a lot of that. And he said he loved everything he did and all that. So you got a team run by, I don't know, it's not the right management. And then you got Matthews, whose softness has to permeate that locker room. And you're never going to be better than that guy. If Matthews doesn't go to the wall to win in the playoffs, you're never going to be that team. There you go. Rick had his rant.
I mean, I'd like to think, if Toronto is going to be at the top of the Atlantic next year, which is going to likely be the possibility. I don't think Florida's going to be able to maintain their momentum. I think they've just had this a long time coming. Tampa's definitely not going to be there, but I definitely see Toronto stealing that first Atlantic spot, and I'd like to see Montreal creep into the playoffs somewhere in there and face against them. I think that'd be a good matchup, and I think if Montreal, this is very foresight thinking, but if they were to ever hand them another, first round exit, I'm rooting for Montreal 100% in that series.
I think Toronto's going to be a mess next year, potentially. Going to be a mess. Guys wanting out. What Shanahan did is got to cause dissension in the ranks, as they say. So depending on what GM they bring in, I think it's going to be really big time on the GM.
Oh, dude, they're going to bring in Peter Chiarelli.
If they bring in Peter Chiarelli, there's no doubt Toronto's not leading the goddamn division. There's no way. It's going to fall apart fast.
He's going to fuck them up more than Austin Matthews drops his pants. Like, it's going to be crazy.
Listen, he comes in, probably 3 of those top 4 are gone. Going to clear house. And he's going to bring Adam Larson and
he's going to bring Milan Lucic. He's going to get you all the bums.
Matt, your mic's off.
If they're going to move him, they got to move him by July 1st. Otherwise, all 4 of them have no move clauses. Full no move.
I know. That's why I think, personally, 2 of them are gone by July 1st if they're smart. If they're smart, yep.
I mean, the names that I've heard are Trevelling, Fletcher, and funnily enough, Marc Bergevin.
Marc Bergevin might get the job because they said they want a GM would bite. There's a couple of things. Bergevin left here. I think it was sour for him, right? We know it was sour for him.
Right.
There's a revenge factor that they can grab, right? And then another thing is, one thing Bergevin was good at, didn't get fleeced often in trades, and was great at bringing in those gritty bottom 6 guys that Toronto can't seem to bring in.
That's the thing, though, Rick. I think they did. They got those guys. I think the issue is their culture. I mean, they brought in Noel Acciari. They had Bunting. They had a couple guys that were willing to go toe-to-toe. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly.
Ryan O'Reilly.
You can't discount Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, though he's a fantastic, arguably first, second line center.
Okay, but wait. That's a case of too little too late, though. Look, it's too little too late. And I'm sorry, but they didn't get the job done, so I don't think they didn't bring enough of those guys in. I don't know.
Defensively, though, I think that you're right. I think they're weak on the defensive end, aside from Morgan Riley and Mark Giordano. I think those two were their only saving grace in the playoffs. And I do have to tell you, I think
Giordano got beat a lot.
Yeah, Morgan Riley, the only guy there.
She's getting old. His body's breaking down.
Morgan Riley's probably the only guy there you could look at and say, yeah, I respected his game in the playoffs. The only guy there that stepped up every game.
And he didn't even play the most minutes for it. I don't know what Sheldon Keefe's obsession is with Justin Hall, but there are games where Justin Hall played like
he's his little pet.
20 or 21 minutes.
I know.
And he led like all defensemen on the ice. I'm like,
oh, dude, he sucks.
And he's a turnover
What
machine.
Are you doing? Yeah.
Like, that guy sucks. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how young he is or what his potential they think he is, dude. That guy sucks. Like he's
terrible. Terrible. Awful.
Okay, let's see what they're saying out here. Bob doesn't think Boston's going to tear it down. Bergeron and Krejci are gone. Bergeron's gone. If you didn't see that, the way he hugged everybody, he's gone. They'll still be a good team. They have the best goalies in the league. Isn't the one of them has to be signed? Am I right?
Swayman's got to be signed. It looks like Bertuzzi's contract projection is 5 by 5.
Yeah,
which means the Bruins will have about $1 million. So they're going to have to make trades.
That team's got work. I mean, they're not going to be the best team in the league next year. I think.
No, but
they got a lot of work to do.
If they bring
by the way,
back,
that's Cam's team. That's Cam's team. So he's an expert on this for us.
No, but I think if they bring Bergeron back, and I think what's going to hinge on Bergeron's decision is going to be what Don Sweeney does. I mean, if Bergeron doesn't see an opportunity for them to even reach the playoffs, then Bergeron's not going to play. He's not going to waste his time, and I don't fault him. And I think Krejci's decision is also going to hinge on that. I think they'll either come as a package or they're not going to come at all.
Right. That's what she said last night, and I don't know. No, I'm just joking. Boston has been supposed to drop for the last 3-4 seasons. I had them drop in this past season. Was I ever wrong?
Bob's I think everybody
right. It's going to be more of a slow descent.
But again, I think it depends on the kind of work they're doing because they got their work. Don Sweeney has his work cut out for him this offseason.
I think you shop Taylor Hall. And with Ullmark's season, I think you'll either likely see Hall gone, which for me is kind of depressing. I used to not.
You got to move one of those contracts because you're gonna need probably at least 4.5 for Swayman if they want to lock him up long term. If Bertuzzi's projection's correct, you're gonna need at least $5 million for him.
I don't.
Sitting at 6 right now, or a touch over 6.
I don't think that Swayman's gonna take 4.5. He wasn't the starter. I don't think he's going to look for starter money, but he'll definitely take a 2-3 year bridge deal for about $3 million. But that's still money that needs.
Well, it depends on what his agent says, right? Because I mean, if you look at the numbers he put up too, like I know he wasn't a starter, but he could say, "Listen, I put up starter caliber numbers, and I was in like the top 10 in the league in save percentage."
I mean,
I want my money. You know what I mean? Like it could go. It depends on how his agent negotiates.
Am I not right? They were in a rotation of every other day. They were weren't they doing that? One day one goalie, next game the other goalie.
Towards the middle and the end, Montgomery heavily favored Ullmark.
Okay.
And I want to say rightfully so because you had a 1 and you had a 1A. So it's kind of you should do something like that. But no, I think if they want to explore that option, I don't think they'll keep Grzelcyk. I don't think they'll keep Hall. And I don't think they'll keep Ullmark. If that's the direction they want to go, those 3 will be gone. And those are easy contracts to move. They're south of $7 million. It's not like moving a Marner, a Matthews, or
the only issue is going to be when do they get moved? Because Ullmark, I believe, has a full no move that kicks in July 1st, and Hall, I think, has a 10-team no trade list.
Ullmark is a modified, and that kicks in. That actually kicks in this year, so it's kind of like what the opposite you said, but
Well, according to Cap Friendly, it's a full no move.
I thought it was a modified.
According to Cap Friendly, it's a full no move.
I'll have to take a look at that. I thought it was a.
But Halls is a modified no trade, so I think he's got that 10-team list. But I mean, so Hall would still be kind of on the easier end to move. But yeah, then it comes down to, well, does Allmark want to play for somewhere else? All right, if he does, where? Because he'll have all the power. It's the same thing with Toronto, right? If they want to break up the core four, they got to do it by July 1st.
No, Linus Allmark does have a modified no trade clause, 23 to 24 to 16 team no trade list.
No.
So
let's get back.
I apologize. I thought it was a full no move.
Let's get back to Bob's comment. He says if he's the Toronto GM.
Oh yeah, you're right, Cam. You're right.
He's seriously thinking of moving Matthews, and he'd listen to offers. It says Nylander, but he means Marner there, I think. You can't move Tavares, and Nylander is your future. And Nylander was
Tavares already said he's not going to waive his no move clause, so Tavares isn't going anywhere.
No, Tavares, and he signed for another 2, so he's not going anywhere. Nylander's the only guy that actually did anything in the playoffs, if you ask me. You're right, of the top 4 guys.
Right.
So
you look at the money, he's like the easiest contract to move, right? So it's like to
me, it's Marner and or Matthews.
My gut's Marner, but I know Cam's in the Nylander camp only because again
I say it's Nylander. I think the money. I think the money's too easy. The price that they're going to want for Matthews is too high, and they're never going to get it. Marner would probably be the next possibility on the list, but yeah, Tavares I don't think Tavares and Matthews are going anywhere on that team. But something's got to give, and in all honesty, I think it's part of Tavares too. I think you got to strip the captaincy of that man.
Morgan Riley needs to be the captain of that team. I'm sorry.
If you wait a second,
if you guy on that team that actually gives a general damn throughout the whole season.
Yeah, but you're not taking Tavares as the captain. I mean, I don't think you're taking.
No, they won't. But if they were smart. They would. I think Morgan Riley deserves to be captain of that team. I do.
Well, I mean, listen, if they don't trade Matthews now, I don't believe Matthews is going to re-sign.
He's probably going to want a max deal too, knowing him.
Right. And he's going to want a ton of money, and he's got no heart. You're not going to win with him. So why would they? So I would trade Matthews, and you get what you can get for him. You get you take as much as you can get. Problem is, what GM's going to take that guy to try to win with?
Plus, you got to be sure he's going to sign with you.
No, but that's a problem, right? If I'm a GM, I'm like, Matthews not coming on my team.
It depends.
You got to be sure he's going to sign with you too, because he needs an extension after this coming season.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Same thing with William Nylander. Right?
I'm not gonna just ignore Matthews. See, if I had a team, and I think if you put Matthews on a team that actually had a better coach and a better culture in the locker room, I think you see his play style different. I mean, you just go back and look at some of the highlight reels, right, of Matthews and the Leafs in general. After 1 goal scored, their heads are down as if they already lost.
Yep. Okay, let me ask you this with Matthews. How do you teach Matthews to have balls? Because you can't teach that. How do you teach him to have courage? How do you teach him that if he starts a goddamn fight, he finishes it? How do you teach that?
John Tortorella, baby. Give him the torts.
No, Matthews is too much of a prima donna. And I'll tell you what, Torts ain't going to have the power to do that. Matthews, he's going to command too much, and he's going to get it too. I move Matthews. I get it. He's a cancer. I get him out of there. He's a pussy. And if he's going to be the face of my team, he better grow a pair of balls. And God damn it, if he starts a goddamn fight, I tell everybody on the ice, you don't do anything. Anybody steps up for this guy, he's gone. But they're never going to do that because he's a freaking prima donna. Why do I hate Austin Matthews so much?
I don't know. Maybe it's because he dropped his pants in front of a girl and wiggled it around.
Yeah, that's mostly why. And then doesn't take responsibility for it.
Yeah, I wonder how hard he had to try to make it wiggle. Poor girl.
No, the problem I heard was that he had just come out of the water and he couldn't find it.
There was some shrinkage on the ice.
Yeah, that's his problem. He's got a lot of shrinkage down there. And seriously though, if he's the leader of my team, I'm a player on there. I'm not going to bat for this guy. He's a pussy.
Yeah, I think there's just too many questions surrounding Toronto, and I think it's kind of nuts to say that. And you have so many teams that are up and coming. Like, I even as a Boston fan, I have to say I'm very excited to see the Canadiens. Like, I like Nick Suzuki. I like Jake Evans. They're just likable players for me. I'm not converting to a Habs fan, but
sounds like you are though.
Hey, I love this dirty water.
But
listen,
no, you can have a grudging respect for what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, so long as Price is part of that organization, that's one man who I would like to see just have a ring on his finger, whether be it part of the organization as a player or as something else. I don't care what.
I was texting with Philip Saint-Laurent today, and he was we were talking about that, and he what did he say? Where they went wrong was with Price would have a couple of rings by now if they didn't do this or that. Where do you guys think they went wrong in that for Price not to, like, if they wouldn't have done this thing, we'd have at least 2 cups probably since.
Probably signing Scott Gomez and Brian Gianta.
It's funny because Phil went back that far. I said that's going back too far. I think that's going back too far personally. You might be right, and it's funny that Phil had said that, but
you know what too? Thinking of that 2014 Cup run too. If we had like a solid backup.
Nope. I mean, this is my opinion, right? I'm not saying any of you wrong. Cam, you got any idea?
I don't think it was the 2014 run, Matt. I don't.
It was before that. Before that.
But I kind of agree with Matt. I think Gianta and Scotty Gomez were not.
It was a couple seasons. I'm not sure how long after that. Only at 1 or 2 seasons, but it was the year that they drafted Louis LeBlanc, because drafted right behind Louis LeBlanc was Chris Kreider. If they took Chris Kreider,
which ties into 2014, the motherfucker.
If they took Chris Kreider, we got a cup probably in 2014 and probably 2021 and maybe 1 or 2 others with that guy backstopping it.
That's kind of the same argument that a lot of Boston fans make about the 2015 when they took DeBrusk, Zach Senyshyn, and then but you look at who else was taken, Thomas Chabot, Mark Barzell, they were taken later. I think it's hard to base those opinions off of 5 years later post-draft or sometime after post-draft.
Not really. When the guy that you could have taken was the guy that took Price out of the goddamn
that's the only reason I'm saying that. If Kreider was on Montreal, he doesn't do that. And
I bet money that we probably win the cup that year.
Price is a different goalie, and Price is a different goalie every year after that, and that changes everything. And that's where I think that's where it went wrong, right there, when they didn't do that, and they bowed to the pressure of the freaking fans to take Louis LeBlanc, who was a total bust.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. It's just not something that, because you can't predict. You can't predict that. You could go back to hindsight.
I know that. No, listen, I'll agree with you on that. You're right. They can't look in the future and go, yeah, this guy, we got to take him. So Price. But I'm just saying, if you got to go back, anything you go back to look at and say it should be different is a guess. But that, if they did that differently, almost guaranteed we had a cup in 2014. And who knows after that?
We could also argue that, perhaps if you guys had Jake Evans in the season where you guys actually made the cup final, because I think he's an impact player, may not be, the 40 goal scorer or anything like that.
We did have him, I think, in the cup final.
Really? Because I thought he was still in concussion protocol. Because I mean,
did he? I can't remember if he came back for the.
Because I think when he got lit up, and I mean, I don't want to condone that hit by any means.
Oh no, he came back in the playoffs. No, he did come back.
He did.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah,
he did. Third round against Vegas.
But,
he came back. No, he came back to the start of the finals.
Yeah.
I also think Montreal could have just been a victim of several teams up and rising at the same time, and it just so happens that they drew the short stick. That it was a time of, I don't want to call it rapid expansion, but rapid advancement, I guess, where a lot of teams were getting good. In 2014, no one was beating that LA team. That was a team of destiny that was just bound.
Dude, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Carey Price was a friggin' hockey god.
Yeah, Carey Price.
Like, I'm not saying that. I mean, I think they probably would have went 7 games, but I mean, my God, like that goalie matchup, right? Prime Quick against Prime Price.
Yeah,
not a lot of goals would have been scored that series.
Arguably, the two best goalies of that time frame. I mean, we can say a lot about Quick and how he dropped off. No pun intended, I guess.
Yeah,
but
he became Jonathan Slow.
And listen, if Habs win the cup in 2014, say that happens. This team looks different every goddamn year after that because players want to come here because players want to come here then. And Price be a different Price every season after that.
Yeah, wouldn't have a bum knee.
I
bet you, honest to God, I think you ever since Kreider ran his knee, that basically kind of turned the, right?
I think you guys being an original 6 team, I mean, when you look at Boston, Montreal, Toronto, Rangers, Detroit, and for whom am I forgetting? Chicago. Yeah. When you look at those 6 teams, I mean, who wouldn't want to play for them? I mean, I think that's part of the attraction for it, especially being a Canadian team and a lot of players being from, Quebec.
Taxes, though, that's a problem.
Yeah, I understand that Canada doesn't tax as heavily. So
yeah, listen, I want to switch topics because you guys just mentioned Chicago. Andrew Shaw was on Knuckles and Island podcast. He said Chris Beach, who got assaulted,
Kyle Beach.
He said he feels Chris Beach put himself in a bad position. Andrew Shaw said, I would never have put myself in that position. What do you guys think of that? You agree with it? Think it's horrible? Think it's right
What was this in regards to?
The Kyle Beach situation.
It's Kyle Beach, excuse me. Kyle Beach, who got sexually assaulted by that asshole that worked for the Blackhawks. And then they recommended him to go elsewhere, and he assaulted 2 kids.
He raped 2 kids.
I think that whole situation where that entire organization swept all of that under the rug was utterly preposterous. And I think that the excuses that came out from the NHL were, I mean, they have to save their own ass. Don't get me wrong. I kind of agree with that. Like, it's, you defend your own brand, but I think that they mishandled that. I mean, I'm glad Joe Quenneville is no longer allowed in the NHL until he does, community service and things like that.
He's meeting him and Stan Bowman at the season's end.
And my prediction for Leafs next coach.
No way. If that's going to be the standard, I mean, there's one thing I've always credited the NHL for that, many leagues don't do is that they stand by the product by which they produce. And they handle those situations well. I think this was one thing that they fumbled, but they recovered.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But that's not what I was asking, though. It's not what I was asking. What do you think about Andrew Shaw saying that? What do you think that?
I think it's asinine. I mean,
like
what? Yeah. Like, how do you, as his teammate at that? Like, how do you say that?
That's like telling.
How could he? How could he have known that situation he was getting into? He was going to a team where he was going to be assaulted.
That's
how is he supposed to know that?
Yeah, that's like blaming a girl for getting assaulted for what she was wearing.
Exactly. Right.
Even simplify that and saying every girl who's ever been raped, well, she put herself in a bad position. Really?
Yeah, so
that's it? Yeah. That's what you think?
how about instead of being a douchebag of a person and, backing effectively what he said was backing his coach and backing that and saying like, oh, well, it wasn't his fault. I'm like, well, how then whose fault was it?
Yeah, no, it's horrible. I think what he said is disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm a little shocked, but I've lost total respect for that guy. I didn't see what Knuckles' response was. I saw only the he put it up. Somebody put it up anyways on Twitter. I saw what Andrew Shaw said, and they kind of cut it there before Knuckles and his partner there had something to say about it. But I don't know what he said about it. I would have been like, "Are you kidding me?"
For less.
I would have said to him like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's your response? I don't care if he's a buddy. If I don't care. He just lost my respect."
Not to mention, think you're in that situation that you're the player, right? And your coach comes up to you. That's an intimidating situation to be in. Think of any situation.
100%.
It's not a matter of like, oh, don't put yourself in that situation where that doesn't happen to you. It's a matter of like, but what do you do in that situation when it's presented to you? That's even bigger. Like, it could just be an instance of shock. Like, this is someone you've trusted. This is someone who's coached you up. This is someone who is supposed to make you a better individual. So let me slide my dinky do in your pooter shoot, and that's how we're going to address the situation. And Andrew Shaw being just like, well, he put himself in that situation. So he got drafted by the team, therefore that's his fault. They go, fuck
right. I mean, that's what he's saying, right? Like, how is like I don't know. It's I don't know I don't even have the words.
Makes me ashamed he was even on our team.
100%. And if I had an Andrew Shaw shirt, I would be
right in the fire. Right in the fire.
Maybe not in the fire, but I'd be saying, is there any way I can get the number and the name off of the shirt?
Rick, not to change the topic all of a sudden, but Matt mentioned the fire. Did you see the actions of what the hell was going on in the Dallas game last night? What the fans were doing in
oh my god, yeah, at the end of the second period. They had to pull the players off the ice and call the period.
Yeah, that's okay. So what led to that is Max Domi did a freak out. He went after a guy Haig or something. He's like half a foot or a foot taller than Domi, and then
it was Nick Haig. I think he tried to fight Nick Haig.
Yeah, that's it. And they had the skirmish, whatever. And afterwards, I think the fans were throwing beer cans on the ice, so they had to clean up the ice. That's why they took them off the ice. I was watching that on Twitter today, but that's what happened there. So what do I think of it? Max Domi, I mean, they're frustrated. The Stars are frustrated. They're
like, what do you think about the fans peppering the ice like that? I hate that. Like,
okay, you're both. Okay, I'm gonna preface what I say by saying I was born in the U.S. to Canadian parents, so I'm both. What do I say about that? That's American fans for you.
Well, they did it in Toronto.
But that's Toronto, you're saying, so that's no better.
Oh, come on. You can't say that.
You Canadian.
That's the teapot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, but I'm the teapot and the kettle, so I'm okay. I can do that.
What about Vancouver after burning down their entire city after 2011? What's that?
It's
it's like the Yankees in 2004 trying to pelt every Red Sox player with a beer.
The fans today, I don't think in general they know their hockey as well as they should. When I say it's American fans, listen, it's clear that the NHL is trying to appease the American fans to get more fans to NHL hockey, right? How they're doing it, they're doing it with betting, and they're doing it with the lousy reffing and the craziness, and I think that's what they're doing, specifically aimed at you guys. And it's working or it's not, I don't know, but it's fucking crazy.
Oh, well, the reffing has been abhorred.
It's corruption. You try to tell, you're never going to convince me that the betting and the lousy reffing don't go hand in hand.
I mean, just a different sport. If we look at the NFL, one of my favorite examples, for those of you who may not watch football or anything like that, but several years ago when the Patriots won against the Rams, there was a call that Rams-Saints game that effectively would have sent the Saints against the Patriots, but it was a clear-cut call, ref staring right at it, like textbook. and it wasn't thrown. It was absolute insanity, and I was screaming.
Well, like, aren't all the leagues now in the betting shit? They're all doing it, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing. I mean, how is it not they're fixing games because as much as they can to get more money? The more they can direct the bets to whatever games, and they're trying to control that. They make more money that way. I'm not explaining it well, and I know that, but it's corruption.
There's definitely parts of it. I'd like to think on the grand scheme of things that the sport does hold in some piece integrity. I don't, otherwise I won't watch it. You know what I mean? I can't sit there and with the firm belief and notion that referees are inherently fixing the game. They're, and I agree with you. I think I was on a long while back and you said they're meant to, manage the game, not dictate.
Come on. You're seeing refs. It's right in, they're looking at the play. And it's a blatant penalty, and let it go. Now, I understand that certain parts of the game in the play, but it happened all year. They're doing something. It's not kosher. Whatever they're doing.
I remember too. So right after sports betting, became legal here in Mass, March Madness started, the NCAA basketball tournament, and there were two games that I know of where in the final seconds of the game, calls were made that really were just kind of random and shouldn't have been made, but they aligned with over-unders of either hitting the over or hit,
Of course.
And it was that there were at least two where everyone was like, yeah, okay, that's weird. That doesn't seem right. There was a game, a foul was called with 0.1 seconds left, and the score ended up hitting the over. And it's that's weird. You never see a foul call and it was a 12-point game, so the game was over. You know what I mean? There's no point calling a foul there, but they called the foul. And it's all right, somebody had the over.
There was a reason why gambling and sports didn't mix. And now all of a sudden it's kosher. It's okay. Yeah, well, it's okay. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, but it's always existed. It just wasn't existing in an official platform.
That doesn't matter. The more it's official, the more corruption there is.
I think Bob, I read a comment from Bob, and he mentioned something about Jamie Benn, and I just wanted to address that because
Go ahead.
I'm not surprised. He mentioned that Jamie Benn only got three games for that cross check.
2, officially 2.
Oh,
officially 2, but 3 if you count the game misconduct.
Yeah, because it was almost the whole game that he got thrown out.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I just wanted that it was only 2. I mean, if you look at historically what they've charged for that, that's been the case.
I mean, Dobbs has always been super inconsistent. I mean, it's that not new there, but I do think the 2 games was warranted. I mean, he cross-checked him in the head and then landed on his neck.
Without a doubt. No, he didn't land on his neck. He says that. You watched it?
Yeah,
he had a hesitation, dead went for the neck.
Yeah.
He didn't fall on his neck. He was falling, stopped for a second, said, yeah, boom. So
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. And then Ben said, oh, I fell. No, you didn't. No, you most certainly did not.
You did not.
But then there's in the when Florida was playing Toronto, there was a play where and again this probably didn't get called because Michael Bunting's Michael Bunting and he's got his own issues with the refs, but he got cross-checked right square in the neck, went down and took another big one right to the lower back, totally away from the play, and there was no. I think it was just.
I remember that. But Bunting is like Gallagher. Right, Gallagher never got anything from the
ref. But if we want to be consistent, right?
Oh yeah, consistency went out the window. 5.
I'm sorry, you can't take a cross check to the neck and then one go down, grab your neck, and then take another one straight to the lower back, away from the play, and it only
no penalty.
In a 2-minute minor.
I think penalty. The way they wrote the
2-minute minor.
Too, was to be too subjective. I mean, if you look at some of these rules written in the way the NHL handbook is written, I mean, obviously you don't want to make it too stringent. You gotta give them, the refs, some leeway to think about what a penalty is or isn't. But some of these are just cut and dry, a high stick. I don't think it gets more self-explanatory than that. A trip. I don't think it gets any self-explanatory than that. If it's ticky-tack, don't call it. If it's extremely egregious, make the call, and I don't think you should be missing the
Bunting got suspended. He goes, I didn't see the guy there.
Don't get me started on the Michael Bunting hit where he, in his literal defense, he went off and said, "Oh, I didn't see him there." Then why did you feel the need to leave? Nope, I'm already getting angry.
Why'd you turn your head?
Why'd you turn your head? Why'd you leave your skate, you fucking piece of shit? That's like Matt Cook going in for the Savard hit in 2011. Just be like, I didn't see him there. Oh, lovely hit to the head with the elbow. Love that one.
Matt Cook, man, that guy was filthy dirty.
I saw somewhere that he got some award from like the Pittsburgh sports journalists. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Some perseverance award. I'm like, are you shitting me?
No, he got it for
how many careers has this guy ended, and you're gonna give him an award? Really?
No. The award for was most sportsmanlike conduct. They just forgot the in front of sportsman.
Right. I just want to say 2001 there. By the way, welcome to the channel because I haven't seen you before. I'm not smearing all American fans, and I'm American. I'm half. I'm not really smearing all American fans. I think in saying that,
I remember that game was in Texas too, and they're bad shit.
I feel I'm smearing the NHL more. Sorry. It's the fact that they're trying to. I don't know. I'm actually gonna stop because maybe I'm getting in trouble. But my intent wasn't to smear all American fans. That's why I prefaced it. All right.
I mean, I don't disagree with you though. I mean, that's the only reason Gary Bettman is pulling out all the stops to keep the Coyotes in Arizona.
That's a ridiculous situation.
Oh my God! Can we move that Fargang team? They're playing in a goddamn college arena.
Did you see after all that shit happened where they're not getting the vote went bad? So a day or two later, they put out a tweet on Twitter, and I'm sure it was their official account. I checked to make sure, is this real? It said something about if you like and follow, something about we'll reveal our.
Oh yeah, the admin Rick rolled them.
Hey,
The admin replied to that later with a link. If you click on it, you got Rick rolled.
Was that who did it?
Yeah, that was the Twitter admin. Yeah.
Oh, because I looked like the real account.
No, it was the real account. It was, but the admin Rick rolled everybody. The Twitter admin went rogue because the Twitter admin probably had enough of it too.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I couldn't figure out what the hell that is. Crazy shit.
I got a kick too out of their statement they released that they're committed to staying in Arizona. I'm like,
and they're committed to.
You literally just got voted out. I don't know where else you're gonna build an arena. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure about this. Now I don't remember where I saw this. I was on Twitter, but it was from somebody saying there was a report out there of the management of the Coyotes talking about who, I don't know who it was in the management, saying their preference was Salt Lake City.
That wouldn't be a bad move.
So they may be saying one,
but ice in the Jazz arena, boom.
But because this is what I think is happening there. They're going to play next season in Arizona. So in order not to piss the fans off completely and have nobody show up, they're kind of saying, no, we want to stay in Arizona. Internally, they're starting to work out where they're going to go.
What fans do they have in Arizona? That's what I want
to know. I think they have all of about 1,000 fans, and the rest of the people in that arena are the kids that go to Arizona State.
Freaking Gary Bettman is getting a goddamn happy sand job from the fans. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. They have fans.
There's a dozen fans here and there throughout the state. But honestly, I've got family out in Arizona. So one of my cousins, her daughter was for a number of years a huge Coyotes fan, but because she liked a couple of the players, she thought they were gorgeous. So I imagine she's not still such a big Coyotes fan. By the way, I apologize to everybody out in the chat. it's difficult when there's three of us talking to pay as much attention to the chat as I normally do, and I like to do, so I apologize. Anthony, someone was saying about Anthony before.
Yeah, it's
Anthony,
my Canadian brother.
do you want to know a cool story about the Yotes? Well, type it up. Bob says laughing his ass off at Gary Bettman's sand job.
I mean, I can't what. How much money do you think that organization has hemorrhaged from the league over the years?
Well,
I mean, my God,
weren't they getting money every year from all the teams because they needed money?
I love that, a franchise that gets.
But yet they couldn't pay for their lease on the arena.
No, I'm serious, right? They weren't they getting money every year for I don't know how long that went on, as one of the have-not teams. So
probably,
yeah, they were.
Were there the owner just embezzled it or something? Because if they were getting all that money, then how come they couldn't afford?
Shitty owners that didn't. No, it was shitty owners that didn't have enough money. I think. But they had no revenue. The revenue was low, so they weren't.
They got tens of millions of dollars from the league.
I mean, when you're playing in a goddamn stadium,
I don't think the money to lease the arena, to keep up with it I don't think it was that high.
No, but apparently,
I want to know where that money went.
No, okay, but I read this also that's either a fallacy or they've straightened it all out and they owe nothing to anyone. And who was it? It might have been Bettman that said. I saw something on Twitter. Somebody said that. I'm not sure who it was, but apparently they don't owe any money anymore.
Did you read somewhere that the Atlanta had put back in for a bid to have an NHL team? Like, cool, let's send them back to Atlanta. That failed 3 times.
Apparently, Atlanta's like 3rd on their list.
Yeah.
Do they just love sending teams to places that are doomed to fail? I mean, let's be real. Like, if we look at the teams in the United States or even of Canada, because I would love to see another Canadian team, to be brutally honest with you. Bring back the Nordiques.
Not happening.
Give me something. I don't know. Like, tickle my balls.
I don't know. You can't put another team in the East yet. And I don't know is there a big enough city in Saskatoon or in Saskatchewan rather?
No, but no. They gotta move to the Pacific Northwest because they're not gonna. You can't have the imbalance now that they're balanced.
I think Wisconsin'd be good. You go to Milwaukee. I mean, Wisconsin's a great hockey state.
Anywhere but fucking Arizona. Send them to goddamn New Mexico. Let the Rats have a couple.
Quebec's not a bad place. Apparently, the Rampart, who just won the QMJHL championship.
Saw that, yeah.
Their attendance is like an NHL attendance. They're getting 18 to 20,000. Let's say 16 to 19,000 a game. If that's the Nordiques back in there, they're selling out every night. So I don't know the problem for attendance.
The only problem is you're gonna have to move a team back to the West, right?
No, that's the problem.
Team in the East.
No, this is the problem. They don't want the imbalance.
But I think if it wouldn't be imbalanced and you could put a team in the East, I think Quebec would probably be top on the list.
Rick, you have to read Anthony's story. It's actually
yes. Is he finished there?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Let's see now. Where was I? Yes, the NHL owners were subsidizing. Oh, that's the only part. The other one. Okay. My dad and his friends took a trip to Arizona one time and were at a bar. Montreal was playing Arizona, and my dad asked if they could put the game on, and they said, what? They didn't even know they have a team. No, listen, that's not the first time I've heard this. It's not the first time I've heard this.
You said the bar was 20 minutes from the arena.
Yeah, but I've heard this about another team. Might even be Vegas. Like, it's not.
Oh no, they know the Knights.
Oh no, they know they have a team.
No, there's people, but there are. Well, I guess the sports bars would. Now, I've heard this about another team also, but
T-Mobile Arena is on the Strip. They know that the Knights are in Vegas.
No, listen. Is it a surprise though in Arizona that there's? Come on, there's no fans there.
It doesn't shock me. Of the 5,000 whatever seats, right? Like if they were to sell out Mullet, I guarantee you 4,000 of them are just college kids.
Do they sell out though?
Probably not.
And is it a legitimate sellout?
The majority of the kids that go to Arizona State.
No, but is it a legitimate sellout, or are they giving away tickets?
Probably both. I mean, hell, I'd rather go to an ASU game. It'd be way more entertaining than a friggin' Coyotes game and cheaper.
I'm pretty sure, Matt, though, that college is also paying for is partially paying for the Coyotes to be there.
Could be.
Like, to have an NHL team present on your campus is huge.
I would just say this. If an NHL team is in a 5,000 seat arena and if they have to give tickets away to fill that up, that is embarrassing.
That's a problem. But you know what's funny, too? I think Arizona State had better attendance records than the Coyotes. I honestly God, I think they did.
Wait a second. I have to address something. Anthony says they can't move to Quebec because of the French laws. The Habs are in Quebec. I don't know if you know that. What are you talking about? Quebec's bad with all that, but not like that. Why couldn't what French laws would stop them from going to Quebec City? There's an arena there. They want, as a matter of fact, the premier, I think, said that he'd love them to move to Quebec. So
I don't like the Videotron Center or something like that.
They have an arena ready to go.
There's a huge market. There's a huge market, even for Connecticut. Like, people in Connecticut.
Not a huge market as you think. The thing is, it's a hockey mad market.
But if you think about it, though, right, like, so many fans, even from the United States, that remember the Nordiques, or even the Hartford Whalers when they played in Connecticut before they became the Carolina Hurricanes, that there are many people that want to vie for that back.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that it's Quebec City's not a huge market, but it's hockey mad, and I don't think there's a problem. Like, I don't think they'd have a problem
selling that rivalry between the Habs and the Nordiques.
And cool. And I don't think they'd have a problem selling the tickets. So, but they're not coming here. There's no way Bettman's putting another team in Canada.
No, I think
we could bet on that.
Probably huge. I know Houston's been mentioned a lot. Salt Lake City, like you said, but I think Wisconsin would be probably better than both of those. Wisconsin's a great hockey state. You put a team in Milwaukee, just put ice where the Bucks play. Boom's done.
What? No, there was never there was never a team from. I'm trying to think. Wisconsin. What are the big cities there? Have we had a team from
Milwaukee, there? Green Bay, and Madison?
Right, so we never had an NHL team out of Wisconsin. But I mean, it's very close to, you're talking about Chicago, and they have the rights for the whole area. Like, I don't know, because a good part.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, there's like 5 friggin' teams in the New York area, so I mean, they could make it work.
Anthony, when Toronto wants another team, I think they're talking about they want to just burn down the one they have currently and rebuild. I don't think they want another physical team.
Yeah, I saw something about Hamilton. Like, why the hell are they going to put a third team in Ontario?
Because they have the population, and they do well.
If the traffic wasn't bad before.
No, I know, but the thing there is the Leafs have the rights in that area. They're not gonna give up their rights there.
Right.
Bob says the Milwaukee Admirals. I'm more a fan of the Green Bay Cheeseheads.
But no, but Wisconsin's a hockey mad state, right? Like, huge college hockey following. I mean, that's where Cole Caulfield's from. Like, there's a big hockey following in Wisconsin.
I'm not saying there's not.
Like, I think that'd be a great place to put a franchise if they want to move the Yotes.
Bob and he's right here. It's not just about population numbers. The NHL needs a substantial corporate community to buy up the luxury suites, and board advertising, arena naming rights, and all that.
Milwaukee. Milwaukee works. Houston would work.
And you got how many? That Milwaukee.
With Salt Lake City, the arena's they're going to be called the Utah Mormons. So I don't know. They're going to have to get the LDS church to build the arena.
Players are not going to sign with Utah Mormons. It's freaking dry there, isn't it? No beer after the games. Am I right? Though.
What do we think about
Milwaukee? I think Milwaukee or Houston would be perfect if they're going to move. They're going to move them out. One of those two.
Yeah, but they don't really fit the because Houston is still central. It's a central division, not the Pacific.
They could always play around with that. They could always shift.
Yeah, they could always shift, but I mean, think about it. Some of these teams have either been in the league forever, or they just paid a ton of money to get into the league. Now you're going to tell them they got to go to a different division.
Anthony wants to know what we think about a potential in Kansas City.
That's Portland, Oregon.
Means, but
Portland has been named. I've heard that Portland could probably do it.
You could put a team in Wisconsin and have them play in the Pacific, what is it? Are they even? Is it 8 teams in each division right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so you can put an extra team in the Central, it'd be fine.
You wouldn't even need to if you move Arizona.
Yeah, if you move. No.
If you move Arizona and then you just allocate another team into the Pacific, you're fine. That's already in the Central. So even if it's
but who's
going to
want to move there though? What team's going to want to move and have more travel time and all that stuff?
No, I mean,
you could put Dallas in the Pacific. They're probably the furthest out west of the rest.
Yeah, Dallas is pretty much.
Then they can put it.
Colorado.
Colorado has a team. Oh,
put them in the Pacific.
Maybe. Listen, we'll see what happens, but I do believe Arizona's staying put for at least one season.
Well, they got Mullet for what? 2 more, I think.
Bob says apparently the only city that meets every single criteria by the NHL is Salt Lake. Salt Lake City is probably where it's going to go.
So they're going to be the Utah Coyotes? Salt Lake?
Again, Utah, right? Salt Lake City.
What's up with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Utah. But wait, where? First of all, somebody answer me. Is Utah dry? Is it a dry state?
I don't know, but with Bettman there, it'd be pretty dry.
I don't think it's a dry state.
Only the women, Cam. Only the women.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think it just depends on where you are, but
not
but
if you put Philly cheesesteak there, baby. Philly cheesesteak's gonna.
Salt Lake City is also the headquarters for the LDS Church. So I don't know.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, cool. Salt Lake would be cool for an NHL team.
Yeah, Anthony. I don't think Kansas City would. They're too much.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the LDS Church, but that's the thing. The LDS Church kind of rules Utah for the most part.
But if you can't drink there, I don't think the players are going to want to go.
You can drink, but
it's dry. But so if it's a dry state, means what? You can drink at home?
It's not a dry. I don't think it's a dry state.
I've heard that before. I don't know.
Colleges are dry because they're all.
Oh well, you can drink there. I'm sure.
LDS Church.
And there's a lot of religious players, so they can get all the religious players. Like the Stahl brothers can go play there.
Oh, you mean the one that said he never wore a Pride jersey?
Yeah,
Eric Stahl.
What an idiot!
Lots of pride in himself. Never wore it, except I've got pictures of him in one, but he never wore one.
What an idiot!
What an idiot to say that.
It's against
double down on the lie. Okay. Thanks, Anthony. What jokes was I making? Jokes? I appreciate that. Anyway, listen.
Utah's not a dry state. You can drink in Utah.
Yeah, they got bars and everything, or you got to drink at home.
No, they get bars and stuff. But like I said, it just depends on where you are. I know most of the colleges are dry because they're funded by the LDS Church, and obviously any church buildings, obviously.
Yeah, you got to churn your own butter down in Utah, though. They're very traditionalist down there. You got to do your own shit.
That's where all the Mormons are.
Fucking weirdos, all of them.
And you got to wear special underwear.
Whoa.
Joe, we mentioned Portland. Portland, I think, would be a good place. I don't know what the list looks like. I just heard Atlanta was near the top.
Yeah, let's try it for a third time.
That joke. Thank you, Anthony. Listen, if you liked it, I got more. Just send money, and I'll tell them. Yeah, but it's true what I said there. Girls are dry when they see Batman.
If they go to Utah, would they just be like the Utah Coyotes? Or would they change the nickname too?
Are there Coyotes in Utah?
Probably.
They can keep the name. They might
change. Everywhere.
Be the Utah Holy Rollers.
There's cousin sisters in Utah too, but we don't talk about that.
Who?
There's cousin sisters in Utah too, but
cousin sisters.
Or cousin brothers too. I don't know. Uncle mothers. I don't know. There's some weird shit going on down there.
No, isn't it? They like to have more than one wife.
Oh, polyamorous people.
Yeah, that's what
those guys are weird. Yeah, me and my 72 virgins are gonna take that elsewhere.
Yeah, 72. Well, I guess if you had 72 wives, some of them probably would be virgins for a while because until you get to them.
It's hard enough to take.
That one's not a good joke, Anthony. Don't listen to that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard enough to take care of my one girlfriend, let alone 72. I'm gonna have to
imagine. Like, be careful what you ask for. You may get it. All right. On that note, we're 2 hours into this, so yeah, we're taking off. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks, Cam, for being here. Appreciate that you did. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rick.
Even though I told him, no, you're not getting on. You found a way.
I was grounded.
Found a way.
All right. So what's coming up? So yeah, like I said to people who were here earlier in the show, Cole Caulfield video coming out tomorrow. What else? And then back Saturday for the Saturday show. And then in between that, don't know if they announce anything. If anything's important, I'll do a video. Other than that, that's it. So thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe. Peace out, y'all. And we'll see you soon.
Keep your sticks on the ice. Go
have a good
go.
rest of the night. Still not that late. Ciao.